Hello, everybody. My name is Nicole Machuca. I am the Director of Environmental Education and Neighborhood Parks at Friends of the Parks. I'm hoping that, unlike my last video, the streaming is a little clearer for you. If not, I apologize. If it's anything like the last video, our last webinar, the video eventually became clear. So today's webinar is about the budget hearing that is coming up for the Chicago Park District, and I'm going to walk you through what this hearing is all about. I'm going to reference back to the 2016 budget to show you what that means, how you can use that to guide your upcoming testimony, and talk a little bit about some specifics for the testimony that you could possibly present at the September 21st meeting. So before I go all into that, I just want to walk you through just some Friends of the Parks updates and show you I think, am I showing you there? I'm learning this as we go, so I hope that you see right now my web page that has the YouTube channel for our Friends of the Parks webinars. If you want to find this and any videos that we've created, you can just search FOTP webinars and our channel will come up. So here's our first flyer, or excuse me, our first video on how to make a flyer. So you can go back to that. These are permanent videos and they are public. So after today's video, this will be uploaded into YouTube and you can access it again by visiting FOTP webinars. So Friends of the Parks updates. We have the upcoming Volunteer in Parks Awards. This is going to be our 20th annual VIP reception for 21 years. I know it doesn't quite make sense. We combined, last year we combined 2 years together, but for 21 years we've been honoring volunteers, staff, stewards who contribute so much to the park. So these are nomination based. So if you have someone in mind, you can go to our website and go to our blog on our website, fotp.org/blog, and you can access that nomination form. My email address is on the form by September 30th. We also have our next PAC networking meeting coming up, September 27th. The topic will be community organizing, how to engage folks in your local park from grassroots bottom-up approach. And then we have the 501c3 meeting. So if you are interested as an organization that maybe isn't quite sophisticated yet, you would like to be a 501c3, this would be in the information meeting for you. The Law Project is partnering with us to offer that meeting where they will walk you through what does it mean to be a 501c3, what are the requirements, and all the nitty-gritty details, so you can either figure out if it's right for you, or if it is right for you, what are the steps that you need to take. So the RSVP information will be coming out for that. So let's see. So I went through all of my announcements. There is a delay. There is an option for you to ask questions as I go if you're watching live right now. So there's a little bit of a delay, so if you ask me a question, I apologize. It might take me a little bit to see that. So let's talk a little bit about the meeting that is coming up. So this is the Park District's public hearing on the budget, and they're going to use this information to guide the creation of the 2017 budget. And as I said, I'm still kind of figuring stuff out, so I've lost my, here we go. So let me share with you one more time some information for you. So I hope I'm on the right one. Let me just double check, 1 second. 1 second. Here we go. So I think maybe before I wasn't sharing the correct YouTube video. Here's our channel, our YouTube channel, where you can check videos. So the public budget meeting is coming up. It's going to be September 21st at Fosco Park. And this is a really good page for you to know if you're a park partner and you're advocating for your park. You can just search Chicago Park District budget, and this is the budget and management page. Shows you who the director is. There's probably contact information, maybe not, but you can that can be searched for as well. So there are many ways to advocate for your park. The budget hearing is just going to be one of them. You can also use this form that is on the Chicago Park District budget page. As you see, it allows you to share your budget ideas with them. And there is a drop down for your park. There is a category of park issues, or at least what your budget request is pertaining to, and then you can submit it. And I've been told that this directly goes to the budget department. So that's one way. Again, public testimony. You can also have your alderman, state rep, elected officials do their own advocating in tandem with your groups advocating, really trying to approach whatever you're asking for in as many ways as possible. That's really what it's all about. So I mentioned that this budget hearing is going to inform the 2017 budget. So if you go on the budget page, you see that there are past budgets going back here till 2011. So this budget, this hearing, in theory, the idea is, right, that, Park District listens to you, and then they will translate that into the budget. So let's take a quick peek at what that looks like. So here's Kelly Park. And I'm going to go into this a little bit more, but this is kind of just what this big document, at least one of them, really is all about. So they have in here the regional parks, like I just said, Kelly Park is in the central region. Then it talks about just the aquatics department in general, how much money that department gets, athletics department. Lots of different departments are reflected in here. This is where all of those operating costs will go. So let's actually now just do some quick definitions before I really expand more into what that document will show you. So there are two terms that you need to know. You need to know capital expenses, what that means, and then operating expenses. So this budget that I just showed you, the one that's going to be released in 2017, is the operating budget. The Park District separates the documents that they release and how they talk about these different funds. So operating expenses are those of personnel, materials, equipment for a department to function. The operating budget is the plan for the current revenues, expenditures, and means of financing. And that's different than the capital budget. Capital expenses are expenditures related to the acquisition, expansion, or renovation of some segment of a government's infrastructure. I don't know what that's about. We'll erase that. So if that's not exactly clear to you, I will show you. Oops, I did not mean to do that. As I said, I'm still learning. In the past, the Park District used to release I'm not exactly sure how they released it, but they used to release this itemized capital improvements list. So here's one from 2009. We can see that this capital improvements list included the parks and specifically what capital dollars were going to be invested. So here is the washroom. So when we think of capital expenses, we can oftentimes think of infrastructure. And there's 4 different categories of capital improvements, so I'll go through those in a bit. So here we have washroom, elevator rehab, pool accessibility, and we would see, you can't quite see it because it's kind of light, but it would show you in the past what the status was: ongoing, construction, design, bid, award. We don't have this anymore. So when we're talking about capital improvement dollars, the Park District does have, let's see, the capital improvement plan, which is different than the budget plan. I have it here somewhere. Here we go. And it's beautiful, and it tells you about some projects. Here we have parking garage, harbor bond, but it doesn't show you that itemized list anymore. So it's hard to understand if your park needs something like a roof to be fixed. It's not quite clear. You have to contact the budget department directly to find out, when is that roof going to be fixed? What is the plan? Because maybe they did want to fix it, but then that money that they were going to acquire no longer is available. So here's what I was saying. There are different kinds of capital improvements. So we can see that these are the 4 categories. There's acquisition and development, so new parks, facility rehabilitation. We can see all those different subcategories: swimming pools, roofs, tennis courts. Those also are considered part of, I think their facility, although right here maybe these are part of site improvements: athletic field, playground, spray pool, and then technology and vehicles. So those are the 4 categories of capital improvement funds that the Park District talks about. So hopefully that was a little clear about the difference between capital improvement dollars and operational dollars. So this last budget hearing in 2016, there were folks who presented at this meeting, and they were talking about their park's capital improvement needs, and they were told that that meeting was not about capital improvements. I was told this year that this upcoming meeting, even though it is about operational funds, it's about the operational budget, they would also listen to requests about capital improvements as well. That's what I was told. I have it in writing. So we'll see what happens on September 21st. So let's talk about what the operational budget can show you. And then we'll talk about, again, what that means for you as far as advocating for your 2016 parks budget. So hopefully right now you can see I've pulled up the budget plan, and again, this was just on the Park District's budget and management page. And I should clarify before I forget that when it becomes later in 2016, the Park District is going to create a document called 2017 Budget Recommendation, something like that. And then there will be another public hearing. Folks will be able to provide input into that. The Board of Commissioners review that. Everybody reviews the recommended budget. And then a couple months later, it's finally voted on. I think it gets approved somehow, and it becomes the 2017 budget appropriations document. So you're going to see that upcoming when it's time for them to release the 2017 budget, there will be a new section on this page that has 2017 recommended, and then again, it will eventually get approved, and those both should be posted for a bit, and then they'll eventually delete the recommended budget and just have the appropriations. So let's talk about your parks, because that's why we're here. So what can this document show you? So I mentioned before that, you know, you look through this document and you see that each department, their funds are listed on here. It talks about salaries, talks about how much materials and supplies are allocated to that particular department in the Chicago Park District. You can see how many staff there are. And that's pretty much similar to how it works with the parks, with the regional parks as well. And I was looking at one specifically that I wanted to pull up. We'll find it eventually. We can pick on Humboldt for a second. So what does this show you? If you're lucky enough, have a page in the Park District Operations budget. And I'll revisit that in just a couple minutes. So if you have a page, if your park has a page, it's going to show you what region, obviously the name. It's going to show you how much money is allocated to salary and wages and benefits. So we have that here. We can see the 2014 funds, 15 funds. We can see the 2016 funds, and we can compare those totals over those years. It will also show you the different supplies and materials needed. And again, it will show you changes over time. And then it will have a breakdown of the full-time and the part-time, or the hourly positions. And again, it will show you how that has changed over time, though I see here it doesn't go as far back as 2014 like it did above. So that's what it shows you. You can compare again. What was the change? Was there budget cuts? Were there positions added? Did you get more instructors? Did you get less? That Humboldt is, Kedvale is the one I was looking for. We're going to pick on Kedvale now. So let's see, we had in 2015, one playground supervisor, 2016, same, you can see their budget, the government officials, so that's posted. So I said budget, I meant salary. You can see how many hours a position, a staff person had in 2015, 2016. And again, maybe for your park that has changed, maybe it increased, maybe it decreased. Maybe you used to have an arts programmer and that no longer is there, and that is something that you're looking for. Maybe that is so important to you and you want to tell Park District at this budget hearing meeting, this staff person is so important. Please do not ever let them go. They contribute so much to our park. We need these hourly positions, or we need additional full-time positions. So one of the reasons why I wanted to pick on Kedvale, and this is going to transition me into what the park, or what this will not show you. I'm going to take a brief pause. I want to make sure that I'm hopefully you guys can see everything. Okay, just one question. Yes, the webinar began. Yes, so hopefully you guys can see everything, although it looks like it might be black. If you guys want to type in there, if you can see, I'm really hoping you guys can see. Nope, that's not what I wanted you to see. I'm just going to do this. You can see my whole screen. So hopefully now you can see Kedvale Park. We can see that their supervisor is specifically called the playground supervisor. And the reason why that's important to note is some parks, despite the fact that maybe Humboldt and Kedvale both have field houses, they both have supervisors, they're classified in different ways, and that's not related to size per se. It's not necessarily related to the size of the field house, is my understanding. But I think it impacts the rate of pay of the supervisor. Maybe the supervisor doesn't get paid as much as the Humboldt Park supervisor, and it's related to that. And it also, you can see that there's no custodial staff at Kedvale. Like you have attendance, not custodial staff, I meant attendance. So you might have had that support staff at Humboldt, but you don't have that at Kedvale. So this supervisor, and I don't know this person, but I know others that I know that playground supervisors are taking on a lot of roles. They're managing the park, and they're also cleaning, and they're putting on programming. So that leads me again into, what does this not show you? What does this 2016 budget not show you? It will not show your park, maybe. If your park does not have a supervisor, perhaps it's a play lot, perhaps it's a field house that is not open. It falls under another supervisor. So Humboldt, I'm going to guess, might have parks that supervisor is stewarding. Kedvale supervisor might have parks that they're stewarding. I know some park supervisors are in charge of 4 other parks in addition to their main park. So some of those parks, those pocket parks, again, parks that have field houses that are closed, because some of them do exist, they're not in here. You're not going to find your page. You don't have a budget page. So that's one thing it might not show you. It also doesn't show you how much programming your park is offering. I mean, it shows you, yeah, we have this rec leader, and that's lovely, that's wonderful, and we have the supervisor. But we have no idea how many programs this particular park, Kedvale, is offering. Pool. It will not show you how many hours your pool is open. It won't show you how many lifeguards there are. Let's see. It also will not show you the maintenance hours or anything like that. You know, if there's a light that needs to be fixed, if there is a swing that needs to be fixed, you're not going to find that. And that's because all that money gets lumped into these departments. So you can't exactly understand what is the breakdown of the maintenance department, or how much money is Park District investing for repairs and maintenance. And again, this is not capital. We're just talking about basic repairs, like a broken window or something. That's not going to be in here. Like if your park has a natural area, you have no idea by looking at this budget what exactly are the amount of hours and funds being invested into your park's natural area, because all of that falls into this department. All of that's in here. Tree plantings. There's a forestry department. Beautification. So again, it's kind of difficult to really understand what is the true amount of money being invested in your park. And I mentioned capital funds already. And like I said, we no longer understand what is the true amount of money and the capital expenses end of things, how much is being invested in the park, because that list is no longer being released publicly. There are, let's see, It doesn't show you how much money is being leveraged through in-kind volunteer work or fundraising. It doesn't show you revenue your park has generated. Maybe there are soccer leagues playing on your fields. You know, how much money are the classes bringing in and those sorts of fees. It doesn't show you how much money was given to offset perhaps a family in need, how much, I forget the exact term, but there are funds for families for children who demonstrate need to offset the full cost if that cost is a burden. So you can't see that in your parks budget page. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, a lot of questions about what can we see. Hopefully this has planted a seed for you in creating your testimony for the coming up budget, or perhaps just future advocating in general. I was hoping to share these questions with you. So if you have similar thoughts, if you have similar questions, feel free to email me, to contact me. It would be great to hear from you about that. So let's talk about the upcoming meeting again. So I'm going to share. So I said it's going to be on the 21st. The link, I just Googled Chicago Park District budget. So what's going to happen at this meeting is you're going to have 2 minutes to speak. Last year, the budget panel was Mike Kelly, the superintendent of the Chicago Park District, and the director of the budget department. And just like all the commissioners' meetings, you will have 2 minutes to speak. So what should you say? Say your name, say the group that you're representing, say what you are requesting. Be very clear and demonstrate the need. You want folks to buy into what you're selling. So those are really the main things: who you are, what park you're representing, what group you're speaking on behalf of. If you are, you could be an individual and not part of a group. Or maybe you're not going to go representing a group. That's fine. And again, the need for your park, for whatever you're asking for. And maybe you've been asking for a while. Say that. We've been asking for this thing. We've been asking for a roof to be fixed. This is the 3rd year we're coming. We need a roof fixed. It's causing this, that, and the other. Or we need this programming. We need more arts programming. We need more staff because our amazing supervisor is doing everything on their own, and they need an attendant. Or we need a rec leader. We need arts programming. And like I had mentioned earlier, I don't know exactly what's going to happen at this budget meeting. There's not a lot of information on the internet about it. But I say, if you have time in your testimony and it's important to you to speak up about capital improvements, put it on the record. A lot of Park District staff are going to be there, listening, watching. Sometimes the media goes to these hearings as well. So there's a lot you can do and a lot you can say. And if you have any questions about the upcoming meeting, I think I said everything. It's September 21st at Fosco Park. The most important thing is that you register. You come at 5:30 and register beforehand. If you do not register in person, I'm quite positive there is no online pre-registration like there is for the Park District Board of Commissioners meetings. You have to do it in person at Fosco Park. So it says, question: if these costs are not being shown, how do we know if they are not being managed ethically? That is a great question. That's a great question. To really understand that, to understand the true cost benefits, that's a whole level of analysis that needs to be done. And I will say that we are asking these questions and we have a plan in place to at least understand a piece of it. I know the Chicago Defender perhaps put an article maybe in 2014 about playgrounds, money being invested in the playgrounds. Might have been the Chicago Defender reporter. So media is looking into these things, and Friends of the Parks is looking into these things. These are great questions to say to the Park District. Maybe this is something you want to say at the budget meeting if it's important to you. Maybe this is a question you want to run by your state representatives, our elected officials. Again, the point is there are many ways to advocate, and let's all just try to do everything we can and do with them and all touch them in all ends. So if there's no more questions, again, this will be posted to YouTube. You should all have my email address, machuca.n@fotp.org. Feel free to ask me any questions. Hopefully, if I don't know the answer, I can find it for you or refer you to someone who will know the answer. So thank you, everyone. I hope you have a lovely night, and I will definitely see you on September 21st at the Chicago Park District Board meeting. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.